Hey everybody, Toby Milroy here again, and we're taking a look at our new agreement form wizard today. And you'll see that in the new agreement form, you're basically presented a selection of options, which makes it much easier for you to sort of follow the flow of creating a new agreement without making a mistake that might really have ramifications for you as far as collecting on your contracts or your memberships down the road. So we've really sort of thought carefully about the common mistakes that school operators sometimes make when they're completing agreements and the types of decisions that you want to make along the way. And we try to make it very, very easy and quick for you to do that in a very reliable way. So you'll see that this wizard is sort of presented to me, and I can choose these options. Either this is a trial agreement, this is a regular agreement, or this is an AMS Kids, meaning an after-school program agreement. And the reason there are three options here and not just two, or just one, is a trial agreement is going to be tracked separately in your statistics, right? That means they're counted as sort of like an introductory or an intro student, and they're not counted as a full quote enrollment in the statistics on your dashboard and in your system. So that's what trial students are designed for. So if I'm in on an intro or a trial, maybe it's like a free 2 weeks or 2 weeks for $29 or 6 weeks for $69 or something like that. Anything that's not sort of a full-time, committed student, then I would put him in here as a trial, right? Second is a regular agreement, and again, that's just any type of a regular student who's going to be taking lessons over some course of time, who's going to be sort of like a fully enrolled, full-fledged student. And then again, AMS Kids after-school program students, these are also tracked somewhat separately so that those of you in the after-school program business know that there are benefits that parents can apply for and that they can deduct childcare costs and things like that on their taxes. So any student who's enrolled in an AMS Kids agreement is treated just like a regular enrollment, but they're also flagged with this AMS Kids or this after-school program flag, which allows them to generate reports in the report engine. And we here for full-service billing clients also generate reports every year for your parents' taxes. So that's what those three decisions are about. So for now, I'm just going to make a regular agreement, just kind of walk you through a very typical agreement. So I hit regular agreement, I hit a regular, and now I have two options. And this block-based billing is a new option. So first is a term-based agreement. Now this is what most martial arts schools, most membership-based organizations fall under. So a term-based agreement is, let's say I'm enrolling them for a 12-month program or a 6-month program or a 3-month program. Even if I'm going to enroll them on a month-to-month agreement, that's still a term-based agreement in the phraseology that we're using here with Atlas. So almost all agreements are term-based type agreements. But we also offer this option of block-based billing. And a block agreement is sort of like a drop-in membership, or if you would imagine buying sort of like a punch card, like a 10-class punch card or a 25-class punch card for something like maybe cardio kickboxing or something like that, or yoga, who knows, Pilates. But in some organizations, in some schools, you'll have a block-based billing agreement where you're basically just buying a block of classes all sort of up front. So I'm buying 25 classes, I'm buying 100 classes, I'm buying 50 classes. And these are going to be counted off as you check in for attendance. You're going to subtract a class every time they check in, basically. So let's do the typical model, and let's do, again, a term-based agreement. You'll see I'm now presented with my billing options. I can choose how I want to bill this account. I can use my full service billing and send this agreement to AMS to have the AMS team worry about collections, worry about getting declining credit cards, worry about all that stuff. Or I can choose in-school billing. Now, I'm presented with my program options. Now, something that we've updated in this version of our agreement form is very important for schools who are operating multiple programs that have multiple different types of terms and conditions. So let's say, for example, you were operating a summer camp and also traditional martial arts lessons. Or perhaps you're operating, traditional martial arts lessons and a separate, kickboxing program or something like that. Well, you might have very different terms for each of those programs, right? The martial arts program might be a 12-month term and it might be $200 a month or something like that. The kickboxing program might be, a 3-month program or something like that, and it might be, $79 a month or something like that. So you have the ability now to configure these programs thusly, and we'll review that in another video. But for now, you're presented an option of all of your programs. In most cases, this is something like a Taekwondo basic program, Taekwondo Black Belt Club, Taekwondo Masters Club, something like that. So you'll have your programs here that you can pick from. Right now, I'm just going to pick Karate 1 year, so that'll be my program for now. And then now I'm going to select the agreement date. That in most cases is going to be today's date, but this is the date that you're creating the agreement. You're making the handshake. You're making the agreement with the student. So in most cases that'll be today. Other cases you might need to predate an agreement or something like that. You have the ability to change that date whenever you like, however you like. Now I'm adding my new buyer. And again, in Atlas Martial Arts software, we have this notion of a buyer and a student, and they could be two very different people and have very different settings and characteristics. And we're one of the only applications in our industry that thinks about it this granularly, that gives you such control over each individual attached to an agreement. So number one, I have a quick person search. So if the person's already in the system, let's say, for example, I'm just going to type a couple letters. You type a couple letters and it'll bring you a drop-down list of anybody who meets that criteria. So let's say that my buyer is going to be Jason Alcazar. So I just click that, and there my buyer pops into all the details that I have pop into the system for me. Makes it very fast and easy to fill these out when someone's already in the system. So most of the time when you're filling out agreements, if someone is already in as a trial or they're already in as a prospect, this feature will help pull them out right away. So it makes it very convenient, very fast to be able to populate these fields. The other option, obviously, is I just type in all the details as I go along. Easy enough. Now, I have a couple of options here. I can add this buyer to this agreement as a student. So let's say Jason Alcazar is not only going to be paying for the lessons, but he's also going to be the person taking the lessons, or a person taking the lessons. So I'm going to click that button. I'm going to say, yep, this person is not only the buyer, but he's also a student. So I'm going to click that. And now it'll ask me what style and rank is he going to have. So he's enrolling in Kempo Karate today, and he's going to start at the first rank available. Now, the reason we give you that option for every agreement is that sometimes students are enrolling in like a second or a third style or a second or third program. So you want to be able to set that independently. Again, if I make a little mistake and maybe I don't want Jason to be a student on this agreement, I can just click this and it'll take him out as a student, leave him in as just the buyer. I also have the space to add additional information for the student. And these are things like who's the authorized pickup person for something like an after-school program, or something like maybe I have to check them in and out in the day. Health information I need to be worried about, weight, belt size, their academic school name, buses, things like that, emergency contact, things that I can fill out all at the same time if I choose to while I'm filling out the agreement form. You can always go back and fill these fields in later, no worries there, but this just gives you the option to add this detail now rather than waiting until after the student is enrolled and the agreement is already filled out and it takes another action. So now you can do it all at the same time. This is another added feature that came by way of feature request from one of our members. So we're pretty proud to have that in here now. So now, again, I have my options here at the bottom. I can either add another student. So let's say this buyer has, 2 students who are going to be on this agreement, or I can proceed without adding an additional student. So I just basically follow the clicks. I mean, this really makes it hard to sort of make a mistake. This makes it very easy to get a very accurate agreement done quickly. Now I have 4 options here. I have a course-based agreement or a payment-based agreement. Truthfully, these are almost identical. A course-based agreement is where I define, I'll even click it for you, where I define how long the course is going to be. So in this case, let's say 12 months, and I set a start date and an end date. If I do that, the system will automatically figure out the payment schedule for me. If I don't do that, if I select, for example, a payment-based agreement, I tell it how many payments it's going to be. Right? So they're almost identical, very, very nuanced in between, but it just saves an extra click in some cases. But I also have a one payment option. So that's a one-time payment. That would be a paid in full agreement, basically. Or I can flag this as month to month. So if I want to basically just have a recurring indefinitely agreement, if it's a month to month agreement and I just want it to continue to go on forever, I tick that one. So for now, I'm going to use course-based. That's the most common. That's why we have it all the way to the left side. So let's say my course is going to be 12 months long, and I set the, let me show you that again. I set the begin date of the course, and the end date automatically populates. So there's a bunch of areas where we help save a bunch of clicks. So by automatically populating information that you don't have to then calculate. Now I go to the fee information stage. So how much is the total course fee? See, I chose course-based agreement, so it's now asking me what the total course fee is, right? So let's say the total course fee is going to be $2,400, and I'm going to add a service charge of $100. And then today I'm going to give them a discount of $100 because I'm such a nice guy. And their first down payment today is going to be, let's say, I don't know, let's say $100 today. Okay. So now I have a $2,300 total, and it's asking me how you want to collect the down payment. And this is important because you have, for our full service billing clients, if you don't want to charge that payment yourself, you can ask us to do that, and we'll do that as well. Our team here will handle all that for you. So let's say I have 12 monthly payments of, that doesn't divide evenly. Well, that's right, because it's $2,300 and it ends in some change. So we're going to have to make that work right. Good. So it kind of warns me about that. So now I have 12 monthly payments of $200. It's doing all the math here for me. The first payment date is going to be, since he's enrolling in August on the 17th, let's make the first payment date the 17th of next month. Okay. And what's my late fee? Let's say I want to charge a $25 late fee in case they're ever late on a payment. Then I hit continue. So before I hit continue, I want to go back and show you the difference between a payment-based agreement and a course-based agreement. The payment-based agreement means when I'm setting up my fee information, instead of starting with the total tuition as the premise, I'm starting with the length of the course as a premise. So how many payments do I want? I want 12 monthly payments of $200. That means the total course is $2,400, right? So essentially it's the same thing. It just depends on how you think about your tuition. If you think about your tuition as a tuition, a total tuition, and then they just divide up the payments how you want to divide it up, then you would choose course-based. If you think about your program, well, my program is $200 a month. Right? If that's how you think about it, then you hit your payment-based agreement, and then you'll be presented with the option that looks like this. How many payments? How much is each payment? Here's your total, right? So again, it's just a convenience factor. This is something just to make it easier for our members and our users, and to make it so that it thinks the way you think rather than forcing you to change the way you do business to use the application. So I've got my fee information. Now I'm going to continue. And now what type of a payment am I going to use? For now, I'm just going to say, okay, I'm going to use a credit card. And I fill in the credit card information. I'll put some test information in here. Return payment fee might be $25. And then we also have another sort of time-saving button here. If the buyer is the card holder, you can just tick use the buyer contact information, and it will go ahead and populate all that stuff from earlier in the form. You also have the ability to add a secondary credit card number if you like to as a payment method. So I'm not going to do that for right now. So now I've got my payment method all figured out. I'm going to continue, and now I get my comment section. This top comment section is agreement comments for the member. So these are instruction. How about this? This is info that the student will see on the agreement. So a lot of our clients like to use this to add special clauses or concerns in their agreement. So for example, let's say typically your agreement is, 12 months. But for some reason, you want to give this client an ability to cancel within 3 months or something like that. You could add those terms here, and they will be printed on the agreement as part of the agreement, right? Now, billing instructions for AMS. If you have any special instructions for AMS, for your full service billing, you can add those here as well. So please take the down payment, let's say the first payment, forgive my poor typing, on the 16th instead of the 18th. Something like that. And then those comments are going to be sent to us here at AMS. The customer, the student, will not see those comments. These comments here they will not see unless you tick this box right here. You see that box wasn't there a minute ago, right? So when you don't have any billing instructions for AMS, it won't be there. But as soon as you put billing instructions in there for AMS, we want to make sure maybe you want the student to see those instructions. Maybe you don't. But if you do, all you do is tick that box and it'll show those comments on your agreement. And that's really it, essentially. So now I hit review and sign, and I go to my agreement summary. This is also a new feature. Your customer, your student can, with an iPad or with your computer, just scroll down and look through the agreement really quickly. They sign it with their finger. They sign it with the mouse. They sign it with a tablet. They sign it however they want to sign it, frankly. Here's my signature here. And if they want to do it again, they can clear the signature. And then I just hit finish agreement. Now, when you finish the agreement, you're going to also have some more additional options that are brand new. First of all, the agreement is just automatically downloaded onto my computer. So now I have a copy of the PDF of the agreement with the buyer's signature and my signature. Very important, right? I'd keep all that on file, right? You can also now print the agreement. So if I click print agreement, it's going to download it again. For some reason, maybe I lost it. I can come back here and print it anytime I want. Or I can email the agreement to the buyer automatically. So if I just click that button, it automatically sends an email to that buyer with the agreement attached. I also have two more options if I have a down payment. In this case, I don't have a down payment. But if I would have had a down payment, I would also have the option to print a down payment receipt to give to the client, or an option to email the down payment receipt to that client as well. So I hope you agree that this is a really much more streamlined approach and a much faster approach to creating an agreement that helps really alleviate some of the common concerns and common confusion that some of our users have had over the years. And we're really excited about how simple this is, and we love to hear your feedback. So please, I'm going to do it here off the cuff, but please, if you have any comments about this, if you have feature suggestions or thoughts about this, I'd love you to go to support.atlasmartialartssoftware.com and go to the support forum. We have two support forums. We have a technical support forum and a feature request forum, and I love to hear from you. Okay, so if you have any thoughts or questions about that, I'd love to hear it. Please go over to that forum and let us know. Okay, thanks so much. I really appreciate your time. I have a few more features I'm going to show you in the next couple of videos, but this is our brand new agreement form wizard. We're really excited about it. And we really think it's going to help you accomplish this task much more easily.